Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I am your host, Mr. A.D. Walker, the pusher, the grower, the motivator, and I appreciate you guys rocking and being with us. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a friend. All right. Lisa, good morning, good morning. I'm definitely going to get back to you today. I apologize. Um, Thank you for sharing. Thank you for caring. Thank you guys for being here because you could have been anywhere, but you're here rocking with us. Make sure you are sharing, going to your Facebook pages and sharing to everybody, everywhere, spamming groups for me. Yes, doing it all. So you're not missing one iota of an episode, and other people are watching with you. We're gonna have a great conversation today. Today, I'm taking a break from what we've been talking about this week, and I'm kind of switching it up because something happened. A video came into my space. you know, YouTube's the algorithms, and it talked about marriage, right? So today I want to kind of discuss, is marriage that complicated? And she began to speak about marriage, and she had been married 3 times. She's in her third, and she appears to be the happiest at this moment. And I emphasize the word appears. Good morning, Mama McCory. Thank you for rocking with us. And I say appear because, smiley pictures and good captions and words because they have a business as well. So there is a motivation to always look good on pictures and to have the great lighting and things like that. Them on your lap like this, the intimacy can be faked when there's a financial gain involved. But I won't say it's not real. So I'm not saying that. But she began to speak about how she had to weave her way through several relationships in order to get to a great relationship, I guess. Things she had to learn, how she matured, and how she was weaving through immature men, in a sense. The immature word is mine, but the way she kind of described it, like men that weren't ready, I guess. And just the way she just is, I don't know. So, and then, this, and let me put this caveat on it because this is Wednesday, and I didn't put it on there, but it is Hot Button Wednesday. The Will and Jada situation where I guess this open marriage thing has come back up, but I'm not talking about them, just that open marriage concept. Because to me, if you're gonna have an open marriage, then why be married? But we're gonna dig into all of that. So hang tight, we're holding it down. And I want to thank you and welcome you to another edition of Brothers of Legacy. Make sure you share, connect, and stay connected. If I haven't said it, join our community. Text LWN to 84576. Join our community. Text LWN to 84576 and never miss a broadcast. So we appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you guys hanging with us. We're going to go ahead and jump into this hot topic. So make sure you're tagging, sharing, because we have a lot to discuss today. All right. So as always, we'll be right. Where's that? Spliggity splow. We'll be right back. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. All right. Morning. Pastor.
Good morning.
Yes, indeed. Good morning.
Happy Wednesday, all.
Yes. Yes.
Thank the Lord for another day.
Yes. Just another day that the Lord, that the Lord. All right. So today we're talking about is marriage that complicated? The simple complications of what marriage is. I mean, I definitely agree. I was, and like I said, I was watching this video, and the young lady was talking about, her third marriage and some of the things I guess she figured out, discovered, and trials and error and stuff like that. And she has a um, marriage coaching business, with her husband. So I think based on the last video I watched, they've been married 7 years. And reading some of the comments, someone put, marriage should be a required course in high school. Yeah, like teaching it. And the the simple of marriage is just the coming together, two people coming together to share their lives together. um I guess the complicated part is just understanding each other, the baggages we have, the uh what is it, the fears and the things that we don't want to experience based on wherever we've grown up or whatever we've seen, the things we want better in our lives that we've not experienced when we were growing up, like, I never want this to happen in my household kind of situations. And just trying to blend two lives, two agendas, into one, and as we forge in one direction. um and of course, some of the times, a lot of videos I've watched, people talk about, their failures were they got married too young. And though I understand, like, young and like my young mindset, and I wasn't ready, I think when you get older, though you're mature, then I think another set of issues pop up, because if you've been an adult for 5 to 10 years alone, or living your separate life, now you have a certain way of living that requires some adjusting, you know, merging of two fully adult lives together can be complicated as well. But when you're married young, it's like you haven't see with the dog. You're married. Um, Two complicated lives, two young lives. You're just starting out, so you don't have any preconceived notions other than you're living together and you kind of figuring out life together. So I think there are pros and cons to being married young and to being married older. Um, but I feel like, on one hand, there is, marriage is. I come to realize, and you think about it, but you never really think marriage is like the one of the biggest decisions that you need to make. It's huge because who you're attaching to your life matters. They may hold you back, they may push you forward. As you see certain marriages, they struggle with one, they get with someone else who propels them into the space that they need to be operating in, because they're pushing them and not holding them back, and encouraging, and listen, you can't give up. You got to stay focused, um, other than, no, don't worry about it, just quit. Like, and so it's that part, as well as just making sure your partner is on the same page when it comes to finances and things of that nature. And of course, like substance abuse and things of that nature, that heart you can't really see or may not know of, or they may pick up later. you know and it's those dynamics of just being in a partnership. So, is marriage that complicated? Is it complicated, or we're just making it more than it should be? Or is it more than it should be, we're just not focused on the right things? What say you, Pastor?
When you take a when you go to answer a multiple choice question,
Right.
they give you like A, B, C, D,
Right.
and E,
Yeah.
right? And you look at A like, you look at B like, no. You look at
Right.
C and it's like, could be.
Right.
You
So
look
could
at
be.
D and it's like, wow. And then you look at E and it says all the above.
Right.
It's all the above.
Right.
It's
Right.
all of that
Right.
because it's complex,
Right.
right? Uh, I am I am one of the greatest examples of complexity.
Right.
You know, uh, father of five, married twice, got married very young, and then got married again at a more mature age, but still immature.
Right.
Children with more than one mother.
Right.
So I'm not the model, right?
Right. Right. Right.
That's just
Right.
real. You know, I think the best part of my encouragement to others is because of my own complexities.
Right.
Having to work through so many complexities
Right.
has blessed me to help people and encourage other people. And also, you know, I live a life of mitigation. I try to mitigate people from making those types of early decisions.
Right.
You know, I don't say right and wrong. I just say this is my life, and everything that I've gone through has brought me to where I am today. And today I feel blessed. But marriage, in my relationship, you know, there's one thing that I say about marriage is there's no perfect marriage because we are imperfect people,
Right. Good morning, Jay.
right? But we can be imperfectly perfected in the
Right.
process, right?
Right.
So every marriage is like a blood type. If everybody's
Mm.
different, it's
Right.
it's it's your fingerprint. Every fingerprint is
Right.
different. Every marriage is different. You know,
Right.
what works for me may not work for you. So you have to be
That's true.
careful of, you know, who has your ear.
That's
You
true.
know,
That's true.
that's why to me, I've learned that a marriage's greatest opportunity is when it's grounded in the word,
Right.
grounded in the word. That doesn't mean the husband has to be a pastor and the wife has to be an evangelist,
Right.
but I'm saying that the marriage has to be Christ centered.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's not Christ centered, either you're in the center or I'm in the center, but somebody's going to take the place of Christ. And that's where you have these complications. So, is marriage complicated? It can be, absolutely.
Absolutely.
But it's always complex,
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
right?
The many layers
Right.
of a relationship, and getting through and weaving through to what I like to say, at least getting into that sweet spot of understanding. You know, I know who you are. I know what you like. And then I guess it's always the evolving, adjustments of I know where you are right now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
6 months to a year or even 5 years from now, what you enjoy may not be the same, and just
Yeah.
knowing how to
That,
shift
those,
in,
see, those
in
are the
those seasons.
complexities,
Yeah.
you know,
Like,
and I think that it's really important to be whole, you know, being
mhm,
whole. And I don't mean being perfect. I don't mean being complete because
right,
we are a work in progress. We are an
right,
evolutionary people. We continue
right,
to evolve, you know.
right, right,
But I think it means a lot when you're comfortable in your own skin,
right,
right?
right,
A
right.
lot of the complications come when you're not comfortable in your own
Own
skin and
skin.
your priorities are disheveled.
Mhm.
And then you walk around with mixed emotions about every particular situation because it's difficult to find truth when you're unsure of self.
Right,
Right?
right,
If you're not grounded, how can you really, really see the truth? Because everything you see is going to be jaded by your disposition
right.
in your
But
relationship.
how do you, and real quick, I don't know if your mic is on. I know you sound like you're in the hallway right now. But so why you fix that? But how do you figure out yourself or know where you're at before you get into a relationship? Because a lot of times, nope. A lot of times I've realized, like I said, some of the best mirrors, you know,
Some of the best what?
some of the best mirrors, to get of yourself can come from relationships. Because that's like one of the truest unfiltered forms that you can have. And why I say that, because it's harder to hide, who you really are from someone that's in your face all the time. Like I can front in church, I can front at work, I can even front around friends because my time is limited. When my truth self start trying to slip out, I could be out the door. Before I
Yeah.
get super aggravated, before we go down this conversation, I'm gone.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you know. Oh, but it's
But I think the greatest advantage, the greatest favor that you could ever do for yourself is to be yourself. Don't try to
right,
hide.
right,
Recognize that there's somebody for you no matter who you are.
right,
Flavor Flav got a woman. Sorry, Flavor.
right, right.
I mean, that's in jest, but I'm
Yeah,
saying that
no, I get it. I get it.
if you're hiding, if you're faking the funk, you always lose,
Right,
right? Um,
right,
the greatest advantage you could ever have is to be yourself, and that way, when you meet someone that appreciates your presence,
right,
there's no necessary change that has to happen.
right,
There's just the evolution. But when you
right,
come in suspiciously,
right,
at some point, your suspicions are going to start triggering some inquiries, and
right,
then you're going to end up getting found out, and then it just gets bad. So I'm grateful. Like, I think Lady and I, as complex as things have been, we've had complexities, we've had complications, we've had all of those things. That's why I say it's all of the above.
right,
You think that we've had this perfect union. No, we didn't
right,
been to hell and back several times.
right, right,
But I'm grateful that I don't have to pretend.
right,
Right?
right,
We are who we are, and we just work through things. I would not prefer anyone next to me, because I'm like, as much as we have encountered each other, she's the best teammate I could ever have, because I know she's gonna fight to the finish.
right. Yes,
I know
indeed.
she's got me,
Right. Yeah.
and so, but that came through error. It came through lessons. It came through working through things, and well, we are where we are here today still because we've worked through it.
Right.
Right? You
Right.
you never know what you really have till you get to the other side and look
Right.
back and be like, man, wow.
Do,
Okay,
do
girl,
you
you go okay.
do
You
you feel
bringing
like
something to the table. You
what's so
know,
funny? Oh, I and hold on before you continue on. I think about the work through it part, right? Oh, like like I guess you always have to work through it. And I know it's like weird saying like, you know, like you said, you and lady that are, as much as we always gloss up in pictures, like we're perfect, like because I'm sure me and you can go through like, oh, I know we smiling, but that was a hard day. That was a
yeah.
horrible day. Like,
Yeah,
and
I'm like, I
and
don't know any married couple that's been together longer than 10 years that
right, that ain't
can't say something like that.
right. They're going through
Right.
some stuff.
And
Right,
that's not to say that, and that's the thing, like, people think, oh, wow, you make it seem like it's tough. It's tough if you're not trying to work at it.
right,
You know what I mean?
right,
It's tough if you don't appreciate the person next to you.
right,
It's tough if you don't want to do the work. Like, somebody has to be worth working it out.
right,
You know what I mean?
right,
Because we can talk about, going out on the beach and the drinks with the umbrellas and,
right,
all of that kind of stuff, going out to the fancy dinners and all of that. But that ain't marriage. That's not
right,
what it is.
right.
Marriage is, hey, it's we done got caught up here. We got to figure something out.
Yes.
Something is really wrong,
Yeah.
you know, and
Right.
and coming through that successfully, to me, that's the belt that I'm trying to wear.
Right.
You know, when
Right.
I look at my wife and I think about the trials and all of those things that we've gone through, and then I see her, get up and make me a cup of tea and put lemon in it, and
Right.
I
Right.
mean, you understand what I'm saying? It's like those little things, like,
Yeah.
she don't have to do that.
Right.
We
Right.
24 years in,
Right. Yeah.
right? And she's
Yes.
getting up early in the morning and making sure my tea is ready when I come downstairs. Like
Wow.
and someone will look at me like, it's a big deal about the tea. You don't know where we've been.
Right. That too. That
You
too.
know what I'm saying?
That too.
Like that kind of stuff right there. And I'm saying like, and so that's not day one.
Right. Gotcha.
That's
Right.
that's year 24,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because like when I and I'm saying I thank God for all the young people and these new marriages, and I'm
Right.
rooting for them,
Right.
but it's difficult for me when I see somebody who ain't been married 5 years out here trying to minister in a marriage, trying to start a marriage ministry.
Mm.
That's tough for me
Mm.
emotionally, not spiritually. I'm not trying
I
to come
get you.
against anybody's calling,
No, no,
right?
I get you. I get you.
What I'm saying is
I get you.
you look like Kobe Bryant in 1997
Right.
talking about I'm going to win a ring,
Right. Right.
and you get
Right.
out there on the court and shooting at the last minute against the Utah Jazz and you shoot a
Right.
brick,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah.
Please, keep shooting,
Right.
but
Right.
let's not talk about the
Yeah.
championship yet.
Right. You
Let's
just
not do
got
that yet. And so I'm saying, like you, and I'm not saying that you have to have been through it, because I tell people all the time, I've heard a person who has never had a drink in their life
right.
counsel people about drinking. That's good. You can tell them what's in the book,
Right.
but you can never tell them how it feels.
Right. Mm. Yeah. That there is like, yeah, you can only share from a perspective
Yeah.
that like you said, the word, or like if you've had an addiction maybe, but not exactly what, drinking. Yeah, I get you. The
Yeah. Now
depth
that's
of what
different
drinking
than
is.
addiction,
Yeah.
because we always associate addiction to substance abuse,
Right. Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
You can be addicted to pain,
Right. Right. Right.
right? You
Yeah.
can be addicted to gambling.
Yeah. Definitely.
There are a lot of addictions
Addictions.
that
Right.
you can have. And so in relationships, in marriages, and
Right.
again, this is Brian. This is not the Pastor Brian McCrory, Solomon's
Right.
Temple Christian Ministries, because some of y'all be like, well, what? You supposed to be quoting the scripture. Look,
Right.
I got a whole lot of scripture in me that can validate everything that I'm saying,
Right.
right?
Right.
But if y'all trying to hear the raw, you trying to hear the truth about my experience and why I say and why I live the way that I live, then let me tell you some of my history.
Right.
Let me tell you how I feel about a thing,
Right.
And what I'm saying is, when I, if I'm looking for guidance in something, I'm trying to talk to somebody that's been there,
Right.
that's been through it, and
Yeah.
has made it through.
Right.
Testify. We overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony.
Right.
Testimony helps me,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely. Definitely. That that journey. But I mean that is an interesting thing where, yeah, you're right. You've just kind of started your journey of marriage. You're 5-6 years in, and now you're kind of trying to show others, but you've kind of just started your journey. I mean, I guess you can share what you've learned up until that point. But you haven't good 10-15 is when you really, like we've been this every day, 15 years.
Yeah, yeah.
You have more to share. There's more depth into what you can share and what you can show, as far as showing other people about marriage and the do's, the don'ts, and the things you learned. And I think, it's that going through it. And as let's let's get on that part. The going through, in a marriage kind of defines your strength and how you guys can weather storms. Just that going through. And it doesn't always have to be like an infidelity thing. It could just be a mishandling of money thing. It could be making, certain decisions, like, and to making decisions, not talking to the other about,
Well, it can be, I don't like the way you store the silverware in
right.
the silverware drawer.
Right.
It could be you don't squeeze the toothpaste in the toothpaste tube from the bottom. You squeeze it in the middle.
Right.
Your toothpaste tube on the top at the spout is nasty. You don't clean it. You don't rinse out the cap.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's little things like that. It's the small foxes that spoil the vine. You don't
Yeah.
put your clothes in the hamper, in the dirty clothes hamper,
Right. Right.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't want to see, like, I don't want to see your underwear hanging on the side of the tub,
Right. Right.
right?
Right. Yeah. It's you're right.
It's a lot of things, man. I
Yeah.
don't like the way you act when company comes over.
Right. 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 Why are you always sharing that story?
Yeah,
I can't
you
stand
talk
that
too
story.
much
Right.
when people.
Come on.
It's so many factors.
Yeah.
That's why I
So
say
many
it's complex.
Yeah.
It's
It
complex.
is.
You have no idea what can irritate you until you've been with somebody long enough,
Right.
right? You make too much noise when you chew.
I'm been chewing like this for 15
What
years.
is wrong with your nasal passage that you have to make that noise every morning at 7:30, 7 a.m.? I mean, there's so many things, man. Could you not leave your hair in the sink when you trim your beard?
Ooh, I know. Yeah, we worked that one out. I got a little beard cloth now. I got the bib thing.
Are these your toenails on the sink?
Ooh.
Your toenail clippings are on the sink. Bro,
But yeah, that is true. Because it's like, I guess it's like it's you reason it's when it's starting out, you're fine with everything. It's like you don't really
I love everything you do. Oh, I love it's so cute when she
Right.
burped after she eats.
when you
10
burp
years
like
later, you just nasty. You got no manners.
that. Right. All is well until later. Not the toenail clippings. Oh man, yeah.
That's what I heard, Samantha. That's what I heard.
That's
That's not me. I heard.
Oh man, but yeah, it's wading through a lot of that, and
Yeah.
like you said, it's not always the big, huge divorceable stuff. It's the small stuff that that you talk to your pastor. Can I leave him for this?
But that's the thing, though.
Exactly.
Understanding what a divorceable issue is. See, you said it's not the big, huge divorceable stuff, but
Right.
people have left each other for things like that.
Right.
It's recognizing that this is not a divorceable issue, not knowing what a divorceable issue is. Right. You go to the scripture, man, it's hard.
Right. Exactly.
To justify divorce.
Of course, it is. True.
And most people don't know that.
True.
People get married and be like, nope, I chose the wrong one. Well, why do you say it? I just got a bad feeling. I just
right. I got a bad feeling. You was fine.
Yeah.
You was fine that 6 months ago. He was the best thing since sliced bread. Now.
I mean, and that's I'm saying, if you don't have the foundation of the word of God, man, you come in wrong.
Yeah.
And most of us really come in wrong. Yeah. Most of us come in with self-serving mindsets.
Yeah.
This is what I'm getting.
Right.
And it has to be what you're presenting.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
When we just talked about this in Bible study last night, right? God gave who he was. He explained, this is who I am. This is who's talking to you. Let me tell you who I am.
Right.
Then let me give you my expectations of you, the law.
Yes.
And then let me share with you how I want you to deal with me.
Right.
I want your heart. I want your devotion. I want your love.
Right.
And it's measured based on how committed, how devoted you are to God. And you do that by giving.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. We come into relationships wanting to get, and we forget all about, no, you should be more ready to give than to receive.
Yes.
How can I show this person my value for them, my value in their lives? Right. I have to, my responsibility is to I'm looking up because I know she's upstairs. Her office is up there. That's why I look up. is to let this woman know that she's covered.
Right.
That's it's important that she feel covered, that she feel protected, that she feel provided for. Right. That's not what she should be thinking in her mind. That's something she should be feeling in her heart. You understand?
Right.
But if she came to me and said, "Are you gonna cover me? Are you gonna protect me? Are you gonna provide for me?" I'd be like, "See you," because you're coming in wrong.
I get you.
It's about me. What you gonna do for me? No.
Gotcha.
You understand? This is who. Let me share with you who I am.
Right.
Right. Let me show you who I am.
Right.
And my hope is that this is appealing to you.
Right.
Right. In little things, I can't stand to see, a man enter a doorway before his woman.
Right.
I despise watching a woman put her hands on a door and there's a man there and her man is there.
Right. I get you.
To me, that speaks volumes of she's not covered. Now, I could be way out of bounds. I'm just saying that's the appearance that I get.
Right. I think it's I understand what you're saying. It's like the full training of it,
Yeah.
If
it's all of that. Because it speaks to, when you start talking about some of the complications that people come up with in their relationships, you got to peel back to those types of things. How do you view yourself in this relationship? If I were to ask your mate what they get from you, what do you think they would be saying to me? And I compare that to what you think you're giving. There's some truth for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We had early on, like, when we were in our rough spots, it's those conversations, and she tells me what she's looking for. And I'm like, but wait, I'm giving this, and this, and I'm doing this, I'm doing, and it's like, no, we're not, it's what she's looking for. It's the matching up of what her, like, I guess, an expectation or what she's, desiring in this relationship. And my mind is like, this is what I'm giving you, so it's having those conversations. And
you can ask 100 people, take 100-person poll.
Yeah.
Ask 100 women, what are you looking for in a man?
Right.
You're going to, and 75% of the answers are going to be pretty close. You can ask 100 men, what are they looking for in a woman?
Right.
65, 70% going to be pretty close. Right. But the problem is when you get into a relationship, okay, I'm all these things, but the question really becomes, will I be all these things for you?
Right.
Because I can have all of these things in me.
Right. Yeah.
But am I going to am I going to share all of these things with you?
Right.
Do I see enough value in you for me to give you all of these things?
Right.
Do you see enough value in me for you to receive these things from me?
Right.
You understand? Sometimes I want it, but I just don't want it from you. I realize I don't want it from you.
Ooh, I got you.
That's where the complexity.
Yeah.
And if we don't deal with that stuff, then it becomes complicated.
Yeah. Right. Deal with the complexity. It becomes
because it's not that you're a bad person. Y'all just may not be willing to work through these complications.
Right. Are you? Yeah. And I think that's the part where we get stuck. And what is it? The molehills become a lot of mountains, when we're not willing to work through these complex situations or issues, like the toenails on the sink. I always put the toenails on the sink. I do this with the toenails on the sink. this the reason, I don't clean it out because when I was in 1967, when I cleaned it out, it was I found something else.
I had a bad experience.
Right.
Right. Now every time I see it, I'm reminded of that.
Right.
And it has absolutely nothing to do with you. It's got everything to do, but we haven't talked about it. So you are having to deal with the vestiges of my past, and you don't even know what you're fighting against.
Wow. Right.
That's complication.
Yeah. And I think it's it comes off. It's the willingness to be transparent about those things as well. I think sometimes, we try to either we say in our mind it's silly that I'm holding on to this, I don't want to discuss it. But it's that transparency of where these things come from. And then the other person has to hear, as silly as it may sound, why I feel this way, because I've felt this way forever. Change is going to take a minute, for me to get out of this space that I know may seem kind of silly, especially once you say it out loud. Yeah, that is silly. I don't know why I think that, but I do it. It's just who I am, and the willingness to compromise, but you do have to. It's those, and the deep part is it's those conversations. It's those small, we just said the small foxes, the little issues that we just have to have the conversation. Like, I don't like when you do. Why do you do? Why is it? Or and then on the other end, why does this bother you so much?
When you do, like I've had to share this. I put it this way: when things like this happen, or when you do things like this, here's how it makes me feel.
Right.
As opposed to, I hate when you do this, or I can't stand when you, or why do you always, when things like this happen, here's how it impacts me. This is what it makes me feel like.
Gotcha.
And what that does is it desensitizes. It takes that edge off. Right. Knowing how to effectively communicate your feelings to one another is critical. It's complex, but we make it complicated. Right. I don't want to dump on you.
Right.
You ever been to a state office and you go, it's amazing. People always say when you go to any kind of state office, Social Security office, employment office, whatever the case might be, why do the people behind the desk have such a bad attitude?
Right. Yes.
Because you're like the 17th person. Right. I was frustrated when you got here.
Right.
So when you're in a relationship, I don't want to dump on my wife.
Right.
When I'm like, I have to warn her.
Yeah.
Listen, lovely man, today it just was not, and if she comes to me with a particular conversation that I'm like, I am so many miles away from that right now.
Right.
I'm going to say, lovely, I want to talk about this, but right now I'm just not here. I can't do it right now. We can talk about it later, but just right now, can you just spare me?
Right now.
Yeah, just not right now. And otherwise, it's like, what?
Right.
Man, and the truth is, it's something that has to be talked about.
Yes.
But because you reacted that way,
right,
you've killed it.
Yeah.
Now she has to walk away with this burn.
Right.
And she ain't gonna let it go. It's going to come out another way on a different occasion.
Woo. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
It's having to discern moments like that.
Right.
Because those are the small foxes. If you don't have enough confidence and courage and humility to just say, my patience is just not there at this moment, as opposed to ain't nobody got time for that. Right. You make someone else feel small.
Yeah.
Because because they brought something to you and it wasn't a moment that you were willing to go into it. You make them feel small. That's just disrespectful.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful to the relationship.
Yeah.
You should care more about your relationship than that moment. And what I've learned is don't let a moment mess up your relationship.
Right. That's good.
Right.
That's good. Yeah. Those moments, they add up. Your reactions, your first reaction, because that first reaction is
30 seconds of humility can buy you a week's worth of peace.
Yes. Right. It took me a long time to learn that
on both sides.
Yeah, I had to learn that one. Yeah. Sometimes the first thought in your mind, don't express that one. Just process and let's just, hey, I need a minute, or however you can be, like you said, the most humble and be considerate of what your spouse is expressing, that in that moment, not to blow it off and make it feel like, what? Did that really matter? That's dumb. Why you feel that way? And
hey, listen, man, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what type of personality. I mean, I'm speaking from a man's perspective, this man's perspective. I don't care what type of personality a woman has. A woman wants to be loved. She wants to be cherished. Even the ones who say, I don't need all that, they want it.
Right.
You just got to break through that barrier.
Yeah.
Something has hurt them. And there's a reason why the Bible says treat her as a weaker vessel.
Right.
It doesn't mean she's less than you.
Right.
It just means there is a way to treat her.
Right.
And we miss that. Because, my wife isn't weak by any stretch,
Amen.
but there's a way that I have to treat her.
Right.
If I want to get the best in return.
Right.
And I didn't always know that.
I
didn't always know that.
Right.
That's just real.
Yeah. Let that marinate. Because I always talk about the investment, what you put in is what you get out, and even the Bible talks about what you sow in, you sow strife, you sow anger, you're going to reap that.
You sow sparingly, you'll reap sparingly.
Yes, indeed. So you got to, you get what you put in. All right. We're going to take a quick break, but before I do so, I want to appreciate you guys for rocking with us. You're hanging with the Brothers of Legacy. We don't stand out, we stand up, and we are discussing is marriage that complicated? We're digging into the weeds of the complexities and the simplicities of weaving through a marriage. All right. So this is your opportunity to share. Make sure you share. Sharing is caring. Tag somebody. Tag a couple, tag a brother, tag a sister, tag an uncle that should be in on this conversation, because I'm sure you spoke about this before, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. What's up, Richard?
Hey, man. They quiet out there today. AD, I see Mother Yvonne out there. I ain't heard nothing from
nobody. They just
Lord. I mean,
so
y'all still out there?
I know, right? Is comments still working? Y'all still there?
But come on now. No, we old school church folks. Talk back to me.
Right.
The call and response.
So it looks like you said Yvonne looks like she's been married 30 years.
Yeah. See, she got something to talk about.
3-year break. I think that sounds familiar. 3-year like divorce break, or you kind of separated break. I'm curious about that. If you want to take, Lisa said we're taking it all in. Must be recovering from your Bible study. So we talked about the small foxes that spoil the vine, and having the discussions and the getting through the complexities and the nuances of marriage, and addressing and how you respond. Would you say is it complicated? Is it complicated finding the one? I gotta find the right one.
It's funny, right? People say I want to find the one.
The one.
And
my soulmate.
Like where do you do that at?
The one.
Seriously. I mean,
God said, this
like
is
finding the one means you're looking. I'm looking for something. What?
Right.
What are you looking for?
Right.
Like you on a man hunt? You on a woman hunt?
Right.
I'm serious.
Right.
Like,
no, I'm with you.
When it's funny. I met my wife in what I would consider to be an unlikely place, because we met in a club. Right. I'm like, I was a single parent. It was a Friday night. I was at home, and I had no idea that while I went through my tough day at work, had to come home, feed the children, I hadn't even taken my tie off.
Wow.
From work. Right. It's like 8 o'clock, 8:30. I'm laid up on the couch.
Right.
In Inglewood, looking at the TV, this box TV.
Right.
And I'm tired, and I have no idea that while my day is going the way it's going, lady is in Southern California. She's down in I don't know, I think like San Diego somewhere, and she had to do some work down there because she worked for the state, and she's driving back up, and her and one of her girlfriends are talking about, girl, we're gonna go out tonight. My wife is like, it's been a long day. I'm putting on my red dress.
Right.
You know, we're gonna have a nice time. We're gonna dance, you know, because I need to blow off some steam.
Right.
All this is going on in her life.
Right.
And I'm at home and I'm like, I'm chilling.
Right. I ain't going nowhere. I'm literally laid up, you know, arm up here, legs stretched out, looking over at the TV, or the TV's looking at me. Right.
And my younger brother, who was living with me at the time, he is over at this club around the corner from where I lived. And he calls me up saying, hey man, get off the couch, man, and come over here to the club, you know, come hang out for a minute. And he's like, you done worked all week, you know, cause like my family used to look at me. I know my family looked at me like poor child. That just he trying so hard. Cause my children, I mean, I was working, you know. Right. And so he's sitting over there at the place and he's talking, chopping it up with some guys. And he's like, man, you need to come over here. Come hang out, man. Get up off the couch. Call Mark. He's telling me to call my older brother who lived around the corner. Have Mark come over and sit with the kids, the children. And you come on over here for a minute. I'm like, man, he's like, man, come over here for a minute, man. Get out of the house. So I'm like, okay, I get up and I don't take my tie off. I just straighten it up, put my jacket on, and I go around the corner to this place. All the while, lady's friend backed out. She's like, girl, her friend is married with children. She's like, girl, I ain't going nowhere. You know, she probably at home. Her husband said, girl, you ain't going nowhere tonight. But she backed out. And so my wife was like, man, what am I? She's like, you know what? I'm going anyway.
Right.
And we met that night at that club. Right. And I'm there and I don't want to be there, but I show up. Right. And I'm standing at the bar and I think I've told you the story, man. I mean, I'm not standing at the bar. She's standing at the bar. I'm over to my brother. My brother's like, man, go get you something to drink, man. I'm like, man, look, why did you call me over here, bro? You know, because I got the loud music and I'm just tired of thinking about what I got to do Saturday. And, you know, and I'm like, okay, look. So I go over to the bar and lady's standing at the bar. She's just standing there minding her own business. And out of all the people I want to, I walk up to her and I'm like, and I'm being sarcastic. I wasn't trying to be mean. I'm just being sarcastic, you know, because she was pretty and, you know, saw the red dress. I'm like, I see you got your drink. Could you get out of the way so that I can get mine? First words I ever said to her.
Wow.
You know, and she's like, okay. So she backed away. Wow. And so that started. And so then I, you know, went over and asked her name and asked her to dance. And
that was it.
24 years later.
Bam.
You know, but my point is, I wasn't looking.
Right. I mean, I get it. Like, and I think a lot of stories are like that, you know, just,
so when I hear people say, I'm looking for, no, how about you just be available for opportunity?
It just happens. It just kind of happens.
You know, even with God wants our availability. Right. He wants to be able to pour into something that's open. So if you want opportunity, you have to be open and you have to be available. Right.
Yes, indeed.
Open, I mean, I'm saying the night that I met her, when I talk about, you know, being genuine, being authentic, I told her, I'm like, my name is Brian and I have 3 children at home.
Just so you know.
Just so you know.
So you know. I come with some
like, okay. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you still standing here?
Right.
Well, my last name is McCrory.
Either walk away.
Yeah. This is how she's, and she was like, and then and all that happened on the dance floor.
Wow.
And she's like, oh, so you daddy. I'm like, whoa. Slow your roll. You can't say that wearing that. You know?
Right.
So it just happened. So I think being available is the most important. Being open, being authentic, you know, being real, is will give you the best opportunity.
being real.
To connect. Yeah.
Real, being authentic, and just recognizing, like some of the ways you just need to work on. Like we can't be defensive over everything that you need to, like hear the person out, because they see things that you haven't had a chance to see because it's just been you. It's just like,
And guess what? If you don't like it, you don't have to show up next time.
Right.
Like, don't treat that moment like you're being held hostage.
Right.
Be open. If you don't like what's happening, you don't have to show up next time.
Right.
There doesn't have to be a next time. But you don't have to ruin someone's perception of you because you're turned off.
Right. True. That's good.
Right. It's just not necessary. And my thing is, at that moment, you realize it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
Let me just make the most of the moment, go on about my business and say, you know what?
That's not it.
Maybe another time, maybe another life.
Right. Right.
Because we mess up so much stuff by, we get so immediately turned off, and it speaks volumes about what you're already carrying.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody says something that sounds similar to something you heard before by somebody that you can't stand, and now all of a sudden you connect that person with that person. Now you can't even see them anymore because all you see is the old person. Right. And then this person's like, "Whoa, where did all that come from?"
Right. Where did that come from? Yeah.
That's dumping on people.
Yeah.
And in relationships, it happens quite often. In marriages, it happens quite often. And you have patterns of behavior that get exposed in a marriage because you can no longer hide it.
Right.
Wow.
Indeed. All right. So hopefully we helped you out a little bit. Let's see. Just be yourself, raw-ish, vulnerable, and authentic. In flow state, no one is perfect or will ever be more perfect. Indeed. So we appreciate you guys rocking and hanging with us. Make sure you share, tag somebody, inbox somebody, just message and information. Maybe help somebody, just a little bit. All right. So we appreciate you guys rocking and hanging with us. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Same time, same channel, same place. As always, know that we love you, but God loves you more. Yes. Enjoying the moments. Make sure you share, stay safe, continue to wear the mask. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I think that's it. All right. And if you missed any episode, make sure you check out the Brothers of Legacy podcast. Go to your favorite podcast app. Just put in Brothers of Legacy. You will see the little symbol right there, and you'll know that's us. All right. So see you. Thank you, Mama McCory. Appreciate you. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Same time, same channel. All right. Take care, guys. Peace out. As always, we love you. Know that God loves you more. Stay safe. Thank you guys for rocking, hanging, being with us. Sharing is caring. All of my replay peoples that are watching them.